Alright, welcome back to Three Swords Gaming as we continue our Guild Wars 2 personal story playthrough. And this afternoon we are not starting where we left off, which is in Starlit Weald. Instead, we are here in the new homestead. I wanted to take a quick look at this, and there was not an opportunity to do so in the story. For whatever reason, I guess maybe because homesteads were introduced with Jamthier Wilds, and while a new homestead was given um, in Visions of Eternity, it's not a Visions of Eternity feature. So at no point do they reference this in the story in any way whatsoever. No one says, "Hey, by the way, go to your homestead and there'll be a bar and you can go to the bar and get a drink or something." Which, can you get a drink? Seems not. But you can sit on one of the stools. Ah, there we go. So at least we have that. So I wanted to at least take an opportunity to look at it. And I gotta say, it is, like, pretty impressive. I think they did some cool things. I don't do a lot with the homestead in my accounts for whatever reason. And to be honest, I'm not sure, because I always said, if they would add housing, that I would like really lean into that, and I have not leaned into it. That's a shame, and maybe I will at some point in the future. Just the same, I wanted to take a moment to kind of show this, because I think they did a great job. I've not yet figured out what the deal is with the strange pineapple, and don't particularly care, to be honest. One thing of note on this map, the gathering stuff is like very obscure. There's like a tunnel somewhere that leads in there, and then you can also go up through the top. So I can see how folks who use their homestead a lot for, like, for materials would be a little put off by the fact that the mine is in here, and you have to go there, as far as I know. I don't know if they've made any adjustments to that, if they've moved anything. As far as I know, that's still the case. It was a few days ago. So I imagine there are some folks who are a little bit disappointed with that aspect of it, but overall, I still like my sideways galleon over here. I think it makes for a fun house. I liked the other homestead quite a bit. Like I said, I can't put my finger on why I didn't lean into the homesteads a lot more, why I didn't spend more money on things, and I still might. I still might get, like, one of the skyboxes or some of the gem store decorations or something at some point in the future, because this is really good. Like, they've given us a good thing, and I should probably lean into that a little bit more. I just haven't so far, but did want to show it off. Okay, so let's continue with the story. And where we left off is that we are pursuing Seb and not Anka. We did once pursue Anka. Seb and Kuda deeper into inland, into Kestora. So up until now, our adventures have been here in Shipwreck Strand. Now we've moved into Starlit Weald. These are the only two maps right now that are accessible in Kestora. So we are, playtime-wise, I don't know if it's halfway through, but we are now on the second of two maps that they have given us thus far. And it'll be 6 months before we get another. Saito, what is going on?
We're still getting everything put together here, Commander. Haven't had much time yet.
There's still work to be done, but we're making progress.
Bigger problem is going to be managing all of our friends. Not sure everyone has the same reasons for being here.
There are definitely some tensions, but nothing we can't smooth over. Well, nothing you can't smooth over, Commander.
You may have gotten out of this one, but this'll be every day for you on the Captain's Council.
Why do you think I came along?
Okay. Okay. So Saida doesn't like the administrative side of and the political side of being a leader. That's fine. I can sympathize with that. Um, Colonel Ref. Now, I wonder what Colonel Ref's story is. I don't recall this guy being a character that we've had any interaction with prior to this point. They've chosen like this scarred face for the Asura, and given him the moniker or the rank apparently of Colonel. But he is not Vigil. He's clearly Astral Ward, so I don't know what his deal is. He's got Melee Warrior listed here. I don't know anything about Colonel Ref. Colonel? Sir?
Wayfinder, good. They respect you, at least. Your presence should prove helpful.
Having trouble balancing all the factions here, Colonel?
To put it mildly, they're all focused on their own objectives, but we have higher priorities to handle first. For starters, this camp is hardly what I'd call secure. What if the Inquest were to attack? We also just need more intel about our surroundings and potential dangers. We know next to nothing about this place.
I'll see if I can take care of a few of those problems for you. Just try to keep them away from each other's throats.
Okay. Yeah, are things that extreme that they need to be kept from each other's throats? I assume that's...
Always a relief to have you around.
Oh.
Colonel Raff is running this operation, managing all the factions here. I'm mostly trying to make his life easier, but diplomacy isn't my strong suit. You're pretty good at it, though. So if you got time to keep everyone happy, I'd appreciate it.
Okie dokie. Well, yeah, so track down scouts around Foothold Bivouac for intel to help secure the camp. Do these appear on the map? Nope, they're just in this green circle. Okay. Well, I guess we'll buzz around. The green circle is not so large that I feel like that is onerous in some way. So we'll just scoot around, see if we can find them. I imagine that they will pop up easy enough. Although they're scouts, so maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should be hard to find. I don't know. Jury's out on that one. Do we already have this? I think we probably already have this from when I was messing around earlier. Yeah, we do. Nope, we got someone right here. So while I did not pull up a map for the scouts, I do already have a map prepped for later when we get a similar errand that we need to run. Trima. Astral Ward Scout Trima. Wayfinder, good. I've been tracking the rivers in the area, and they might provide easier travel for us than slogging through dense forest. Oh? What have you found, Trima? Well, I'm still charting a layout of the waterways, but it's looking promising. Although I did encounter some Inquest presence along the river north of here. Well, they can use the rivers for travel too, of course. Which could leave us vulnerable. You raise a strong point. I'll send a request to the Colonel for structured skimmer patrols so we aren't caught by surprise. Well, keep up the good work, Trima. You're doing God's work out here. We're proud of you. Or something. I don't know why I'm assuming that all these scouts will be on the edge of the circle, but I do feel like that's a reasonable assessment, so we're going to start out scooting around the edge of our green circle. Ah, we got someone down here. Scout Yakuti. We're certainly a long way from Alona now. Well, yeah, I mean, this is a very long ways from Alona, almost as far as you could be within the existing map. But despite that, I somehow spotted a Choya. A Choya? Here? Are you sure? It looked more like fruit than a cactus, but trust me, I'd recognize those chittering voices and that waddling gait anywhere. Maybe we should try to make contact with them and see what they know? I feel like there should be a question mark at the end of this. So, side note, that has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. Personal bias, personal prejudice, I hate the Choya. It's like the Timu version of the cactus from Final Fantasy. Don't like it at all. But I guess most of the players really liked the Choya, so Cool. Maybe we should try to make contact and see what they know. Well, I headed north, so maybe that's where they're living. I spent enough time with Narcisse on our voyage to know she'll be interested in this. Yeah, I bet she will. Yeah, I bet she will. Like, that seems like Narcisse's sort of thing. Alright, well, we're at the wall, so I guess that's... Is it the wall? It certainly appears that way, but the circle goes well beyond it. That's kind of weird. Okay. We'll continue to kind of skirt around the edge here. We have a hero point over here. Oh, I already have that one. Convenient. Alright, well, to the middle of the circle we go. Ah, we got Kestrel Chul. Chul? Cool? We're going to call him Cool, because that's cooler than Chul. It's good to be back in the forest again. If I squint, it almost feels like home. The size of some of these trees would make them fit right in with those in Echabald. Yeah, fair. And what a... if you look at the entire timeline of Guild Wars 2, like how far they have come. I remember the first time people really dazzled with like new assets when it came to like large plants with like these towering pines in it was Icebreed Saga, early in Icebreed Saga, when we started seeing this kind of thing, and they've really utilized it a lot to great effect, and they did a fantastic job on this map. We're going to get to see a lot more of this map as we move forward, and it's a really cool. Both the maps so far that we've gotten are really well done, I think. Have you gotten a view from higher up? Briefly, I'm still mapping out paths for traversing the canopy between perches. Do any perches have good sightlines to see approaching dangers? Several, yes. When I'm finished, I'll head back to camp and give a full report to Colonel Ref. Good work, soldier. Good work. Alright, we got one more to find. Presumably somewhere in the middle of the circle. Wow, we've about covered the entirety of the circle. I don't want to have to look it up, and yet I feel like I might have to in the interest of time and not wandering around, and that's disappointing. So Chul is right over here. Man, we've covered everything except like up here because it looked like we couldn't get up there. I wonder if we can actually... it sure didn't seem that way though, did it? That seemed impassable. But perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe we'll skirt the edge of the cliffs and see if there's someone kind of hanging out along the edge. The thing is, I don't think that they would be so high that so as to be inaccessible without, like, you know, like I don't think they would want people to rely on Skyscale to find them. Yeah, we can't even go over there. That makes the circle a little weird too, right? That so much of the circle is not actually accessible. Okay, well, we're just playing outside of the circle now. There's one here that we already talked to. That was a little Asura guy. he was watching the waterways, so you'd think he would have this whole area covered. Ah, there we go. Vigil Scout Premok.
We are the bulwark against evil.
Well, that's a strong statement. Alright, Commander, good to see you. This forest really is something, isn't it? Especially the creatures. What sort of creatures have you encountered? Some of them are familiar, like moas, but other I've never seen before. One was a great armored beastie. Reminded me of those adorable bristlebacks I once saved. Was Premok the one who was like always trying to adopt stuff in Heart of Thorns? Are we calling back that far? Might be. Anything else?
Well, things are calmer around camp for now. Guess I should make sure everyone is doing okay out in the field.
Okay, let's do that, Commander. But first, I don't think they're the only large creature stalking this forest, based on some tracks I saw. Be careful out there. Large, probably dangerous wildlife. Got it. Alright, got it. So we've met the scouts. We're going to go find Magister Keaton in Tranquil Glen. Is that the next kind of encampment up here? There are, besides the encampment that we initially find, let's grab this real quick, which is the one where we talked to Colonel Ref. There are 2 more encampments that are associated with our peeps, with Astra Ward and whoever else are hanging out with the Astra Ward. Which, like, we got a lot of people in Castora for, you know, for 2 ships, one of which crashed. But one, I think they want a mechanism for creating, like, safe havens within each map. Something they didn't do a lot of, but did still do somewhat in, like, Heart of Thorns and stuff. Players need that at times, right? You gotta have some safe haven on a map. And 2, I don't think they want the commander feeling, like, lonely, particularly as these maps age. 3 years from now, like, this map might feel real lonely. And so some NPCs that are friendly are kind of necessary. That hero challenge, by the way, that hero point right there, is like my favorite maybe ever, definitely in this expansion. It's just so cool. We'll head up there in a minute. Let's talk to Magister Keaton.
Oh, Commander, how delightful. You've come to the right place. The magic is absolutely overflowing here. This place is defined by magic. It permeates everything. The plants, the animals, even the soil itself. We need to understand it better to know what we'll face here. Perhaps you can gather some samples.
Sure. Alright, ley line emanation samples that need to be gathered. Can I just, like... Alright, at least they don't require me to dismount. That's a positive thing. Another example of, like, steady progress. So I'm not the hardest of anyone in terms of, like, how hard I am on ArenaNet. But I am fairly hard on them. I think there are a lot of things they could probably do better, and I note that from time to time. However, they should be given credit when they do things well. And one of the things that was an issue when they first introduced mounts was that anytime you interacted with something, you would dismount. Like, always. I don't know... I'm not a programmer. I have no idea how coding works. I don't know specifically, like, why certain things would be coded a certain way to where you would always dismount when you interacted with things. But it is very nice now that we can do stuff like this without dismounting. Especially since the whole point of this is to, you know, kind of zip around and grab these things. Like, why would that... Like, you wouldn't... No, I failed to grab that one. I started moving too soon. You wouldn't want to encourage the player to dismount. Like, that seems to kind of stand in opposition to your design choices in the first place, right? So, it's a small little example of progress that, you know, to use a term that I've used repeatedly throughout this expansion, again, thus far, because we will see how the other releases are. But so far, attention to detail has been really good, and those are the little things that make a difference, right? Magister Keaton.
Hopefully this will help.
This is wonderful, Commander. I'll get right to work.
Yep. Make good use of all that magic I gave you. So let's come up here again. I came up here, I did the hero point after talking about how much I liked it, and then I didn't actually talk about it. How cool is that, right? So we have like this stone gateway, like an arch, but it's a full circle, so I'm sure there's a word for that, and I'm just forgetting what it is right now. But this stone portal here that's been caught up in the growth of the plant life and pulled up and suspended like this, and within this center here is a hero point. Just really fun, like exotic design. That's really cool. Not like completely original, like I'm sure things like that have been seen before in various fantasy settings, but very fun, very rewarding just the same. Like not everything has to be first seen to be pleasing. Ember. Ember is a name we should recognize. What's, is that a mini belonging to this player? Yeah, it is. What's going on, Ember?
I can't say it's much of a surprise to see you skulking around, Ember.
A tiger can't change its stripes, Commander. We're trying to get a network of listening devices set up to keep track of the inquest. And anyone else who might be moving around out here. You already know what I'm gonna ask.
All right, but only because it's you. I'll see if I can find some good spots for them.
Me and Ember. Me and Ember being buddies. Love it. Alright. So, in addition to the two camps, and one of the camps should be very close by, also we have... Oh, we are going to dismount for this, huh? You're not carrying a deployment kit? How did I mess that up? Do we have to run them over each time? I guess we do. Which means we're going to have to kill a few inquests. Alright, well, let's go back over there. Guess I should have been paying better attention. Yeah, so in addition to the two camps, there's also the, like, Inquest Fortress, which we can see right over there. Not quite as impressive as Sandswept Isles. But, you know, in Sandswept Isles, like, the Inquest facility was really central to the map and was a big part of what that map was. And for me, at least, personally, it was my favorite part of that map. It was a little bit daunting to navigate because, you know, the saturation of enemies. But with, you know, with mounts, it wasn't overwhelming. And it was a really fun area to play in. This is quite a bit smaller, but still visually very, very cool. And has some stuff going on there. There's an event with a giant pineapple cholla, and you break it out. It's called, like, I think it's called Fruit Punch? Something like that. It's not the most fun event ever because the sheer number of enemies really causes the event to go slow. Right? So, generally with escort events, whoever you're escorting is, at least in Guild Wars 2, is often going to stop to fight foes. And if they throw foes at you, then that's fine. That's part of the event, right? But there are so many enemies throughout here and then in the route down, and they respawn so quickly that, like, some of the enemies down here in this area, you will kill... Because a few of them are named, which is kind of a fun touch. It's like a, you know, boat mechanic Ziz or whatever. Well, you will kill boat mechanic Ziz like 3 times because he just keeps respawning while you're trying to navigate the event. That's maybe a bit much. Kill boat mechanic Ziz once, okay. Kill him twice, okay. 3 times? Like... Wow, let's give Ziz a break. Having said that, I've done the event several times because I've been around when it popped up and, you know, get that mastery experience and whatnot. It's fine. It's just a bit long-winded. There's also like some underground or underwater portions of the base and stuff. So there's quite a bit going on there. Pretty cool. All right, Kyonga. Oh, first mate Kyonga. Yes, of course.
Hey, Wayfinder, you can handle a skimmer, right?
What?
I got assigned to collect magic samples out here.
So that's for an
and I'm in
event.
over my head. Any you could grab for me would.
All right, Kyonga. What is going on? Why am I talking to Kyonga? We're not really given an indication. Suddenly we just get seek out first mate Kyongo and Tranquil Glen to aid the Sly crew against the Inquest. What's up?
Make sure the damn thing is weakened. I don't want it attacking us while we're transporting it back.
I do not have combat
Wow.
functionality.
What's going on here?
Found some kind of special inquest golem not far from their base. Followed it out into the woods, then disabled it.
Seems like it's got a bunch of unique parts. Gotta be worth a fortune. Shut up, Zeke, you stupid dog.
You're going to sell it? To who? The Inquest? The Priory?
Seems to be able to think on its own. Someone will pay big for that.
Did you ever think that might make it valuable to us? We're not selling it.
What? That ain't your call. We earned this payday fair and square.
Look, Commander, I respect you, but you've got to understand. We don't work for free. I'm happy to give you the golem. It'd save me the trouble of lugging it around. But you gotta compensate us. You don't want to be relying on angry sailors, trust me.
What will it take?
Gold is always good. But if you left your money at home, you could always find us something else to sell.
Okay, so in the past, when I've done this, once in the past, we've passed the point where I'm at on another alt account, so I've only done this on my main account. I went and found something. So there is a thing that we can go find that we can exchange for PTM the Golem. But I think we might just be able to buy, like, with gold. Presumably it's going to say, like, 5 gold or something out of our account, right? We have, on this account, 306, which these days, with the Wizard's Vault, isn't a tremendous amount, but is plenty to do things that you want to do. So let's see here. What if I pay you a finder's fee? Ooh, 10 gold to advance this story step. It's good to know we can, but let's not. Let's find a targeting control module. Last time it took me a hot minute to find this. This time, it was right there and required no fighting, so. I'll trade, yeah, I'll trade this top-end targeting control module for the Golem.
Here, this targeting control module should be worth plenty, and it's a lot easier to carry, too.
I suppose it'll do. Fine. The golem's yours.
Thanks.
Thanks. The commander does not sound impressed. By the way, if you found the tone that Garrick used with the dog Zeke off-putting, that is by design. And we'll get a little bit more of that here in a few minutes. We'll understand why they wanted you to feel that way. PTM, what's up?
Well, you weren't cheap. What can you tell me about the inquest here?
I am PTM, otherwise known as Prototype Machine. No, that's not it. Was it party time, Mac?
Focus, PTM. I need info about the inquest.
I apologize. It seems I have been damaged by your friends. That is kind of you to say. I must return to base for repairs at once.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. We have people here who can fix you.
I'm afraid I require special equipment for maintenance. Otherwise, I would be happy to assist you.
Well then, you just stay put and I'll go get the equipment. But then you're going to tell me what you know. Got it?
That is an agreeable arrangement.
Okay. Oh, do we need... We need another mastery. Do we already have that one? Let's see here. Oh, is it in Wild Custodian? No, it's not. Oh, it's just Stealthy Survivor? Okay. Well, lucky us. We have that. I was about to be mildly annoyed. Alright. Make your way to the perimeter of the Inquest command base. Is this the one that I think it is? Is this a full-blown instance? It is. Okay. Let's talk about this instance before we do this instance. There was an intent with this instance. There was a thing that ArenaNet wanted us to do. I haven't figured it out. On my first playthrough, I tried and I tried and I tried to make sense of it. And I couldn't get it to work. And then I gave up and discovered that you can just Hulk smash everything. So we are just going to like face tank everything in this instance. We are not going to... we're not going to try and use the mechanics for stealth. And by the way, like... most games consistently botch stealth stuff. You know, like it reminds me of Cyberpunk 2077, which, when it comes to like story stuff, is significantly better than Guild Wars 2. Completely different types of games. We all know that a single-player MMO is, of course, better at like story stuff than, or a single-player RPG is better at story stuff than an MMO. So, like, we don't need to go down that road talking about why that is. But even in that game, like, the stealth mechanics, like, it was often just more rewarding, more fun, and faster to just kill everyone. It's the same here. So the idea is that we can use these stashes, interact with them, and now we're stealthed, and we can, like, get past all these guards and stuff. So then there's another stash right there, but see, now I'm in, like, the kill radius or whatever, so I'm gonna... And, like, I don't know if... when I'm stealth, I can probably... Oh. See, so I was in combat because of the turret, so then I didn't get the stealth anyway. So it's just all, like, kind of frustrating. Because there comes a point when you... I was able to get up into here when I played through this before, and it still didn't make sense. Like, the process didn't feel like it was working. So, yeah, we're just going to smash things. And we're undoubtedly going to draw, like, all kinds of aggro as we run around here. And we'll deal with that as needed. See, so now, like, even though, like, full-blown, the alarm... You know what this kind of reminds me of? Season 4, when we have Blish's arm, that genuinely is one of my least favorite instances in the entire game. If not truly my least favorite instance. The process is just so bad, and... It's that instance is so time-consuming, and this feels like it was dangerously close to being the same thing.
Well, I'm certainly not
fortunately,
walking through that.
No, certainly not.
Must be something nearby that's actually running it.
Undoubtedly. So I am glad, actually, and in fact, these days, even though... Oh, and the point I mentioned that, what we don't have here is, like, massive reinforcements calling in when we get detected through there, right? Which, in the instance with Blish's arm, and I don't remember the name of the instance, we do deal with. Even with the reinforcements, these days, if I'm playing back through that instance...
Did you get in here? Those worthless guards. When I'm finished with you, they're next.
Ooh, Engineer Brizzy is having a day, I guess. So even when I play through that, or even with the reinforcements, when I play through that on like an alt account or something, I just kill everything and completely disregard any of the mechanics with Blish's arm. I just don't care enough about that to... Oh, I thought I had longbow. I do not. So one thing they did with a lot of the enemies in this expansion, they really went hard on the Condis, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. I don't think I'm actually running a Condi cleanse on this character right now, so consequently you can see it's having a meaningful impact for me. But because I don't think that heal has a Condi cleanse. But I certainly don't mind that they decided to... oh, you can reflect those little saw blades. Look at that. Certainly don't mind that that's a thing that they decided to do, because I think it's good to introduce players to a variety of mechanics through the story. And that includes both fundamental mechanics of the game, like Condis and boons and stuff, and also mechanics for like actual things that are happening that they're going to use later in fractals, raids, convergences, whatever. Even if I don't do fractals raid, well, I do fractals from time to time. I don't do raids or convergences. I'm sure I could do convergences. They're large group events. I'm sure I would manage that fine. I don't really have interest in raids, but even not doing them, I think that's the right way to design your game. So I'm glad they do that. It's the control panel. The control panel for electrical grids. Scrawled on top in someone's handwriting is Seb sucks. Haha. Seb does suck. Okay. Hopefully now we can go upstairs. All this, of course, is to get the spare parts for the prototype machine, also known as Party Time Mech. Let's roll with Party Time Mech. So I'm going to get the spare parts for Party Time Mech so that we can fix him, and then he will tell us things we want to know.
It is an incalculable delight to finally meet you, Commander. Your reputation precedes you, as I fear mine must precede me. I think you'll find me quite unlike the tales you've heard. I won't waste your time with trivialities. Both of us are far too busy for that. I want you to help me save our world.
What do you mean?
I wish I had time to explain everything now, but Kuta's guards are closing in. We can't be seen together. Not yet. Suffice it to say, I am not your enemy. If anything, I am your sincerest admirer. You represent what we are at our best. Materia will face many more trials in the years to come. We need more like you if we're going to be ready. We can't do that while all the power rests in the hands of those like Isgaren. It's time to return Tyria's destiny to the hands of her people.
But why Castora? What are you looking for?
Isgaren really hasn't told you what was hidden here. Or the Council, what they sent me here to find.
Okay, before we read Confidential Missive, I would like to say, so this is Vlox, Director Vlox, as we can see, which you can't see because I have it covered right here. But in your, in your chat box, in your text there, you will see that this is Director Vlox, leader of the Inquest. So here, as far as I know, for the first time ever in the game, we meet the leader of the Inquest. Now remember, he is a new leader. That's covered earlier in this expansion story. So it's not like when we did Crucible of Eternity that this guy was the leader, but he is now. And we will actually, at one point in the story, I think it's yet to come, I don't think we've encountered it yet, get some background on kind of how that came to be. And what a little bit about who he was and how that became who he is, right? I love the introduction. I think they did a great job. His, like, the way he reacts when we walk in communicates to us that he is more dangerous than, say, that the what's-her-face, let's see, there's probably some dialogue from Engineer Brizzy, right, who we killed downstairs. She's like, oh, who let you in? I'll kill the guards when I'm done with you. Like, that reaction is the overreaction of someone who's not actually capable of being a genuine threat to us, right? In spite of the fact that, Condi's kind of whittled me down, Brizzy was never really a genuine threat to the commander. within the constraints of the story. Vlox's interaction with us communicates to us that he is. So never mind the fact that we know he's the director of the inquest. It'll be funny if enough time goes by while I'm running my mouth here that Vlox actually like says something to us like, just read the paper, Commander. His interaction with us tells us that he is indeed a genuine threat, because he does not feel the need to posture for us in some way in the slightest. He is quite bored with me talking, as you can see. He's eager to move forward in this whole process, presumably because Kuda is on her way with guards. I'm really excited to see what they do with this concept of him truly believing that what he's doing is for the greater good. Because at least thus far, you know, during this early dialogue that we've met him, he's communicating that he, you know, what did he say? He wants us to help him save this world. And he goes on to say that power cannot remain in the hands of, you know, people like Isgarin. I like that a lot. A lot. We haven't had an adversary in the game that I think was that formidable. What you might say Jormag, but I don't. Jormag never felt like that to me, because Jormag was a big dragon, like a force of nature type thing, and while yes, there was the whisper and it was, you know, trying to persuade people, it never felt it was coercive in nature, not persuasive in nature. Vlox is persuasive in nature, and we haven't really seen anything like that since maybe Joko. So already we have Vlox in kind of rarefied air in terms of Guild Wars 2 lore and Guild Wars 2 adversaries as a more mature, more intelligent adversary, because they're not just the big bad. They are someone that we should take seriously because they have a genuine motivation. It's a motivation that we can potentially get behind. And I really hope, this is going to sound very condescending, and perhaps it is very condescending, but the likelihood of ArenaNet fumbling this is incredibly high. Catastrophically high. I can't emphasize that enough. The likelihood that they deliver on this well is so incredibly low. But I'm going to hold out hope for that anyway, because I really, really want that. We'll see what direction they go with it. Confidential missive. Let's read it.
They sanctioned this?
More readily than you can imagine. And they'd have kept it from you forever. They can't be trusted. Neither can Isgarin. I will tell you more when I can. Take this comms device and anything else you need. A token of friendship.
Okay. So I would like to read the confidential missive, but I think we're about to be attacked. Yeah. So the bottom line of the confidential missive, unfortunately, because I can't read it right now. Maybe we can just stash it in the corner and do things. Maybe we can get to it in a second. We'll have like a stopping point. So we'll leave it. We'll leave it in the corner. See if we have that kind of luck or not. I don't think we're going to, though. It is with considerable excitement that we await the results of our joint venture, Director. So someone's collaborating with Vlox, right?
We have an intruder in the base. Reinforcements are on their way.
Oh, good.
You know what needs to be done. Don't fail me.
Now, more than ever, it is vital that we reinforce this council. So this is the Arcane Council, right? And it says that at the bottom. It's signed by the Arcane Council. We reinforce this council and the Asuran people for the journey ahead. The artifacts and technology that you will bring back to us will form the foundation for a new Golden Age. We must remind you, of course, to honor the terms of our agreement and bring your findings back only to Radasum. We have, after all, invested significant capital in your equipment and provisions. In return, we will ensure that any impediments to your expedition are prevented or significantly delayed. We look forward to an update on your findings. The bottom of the page is marked with the official seal of the Arcane Council. So we see that the Arcane Council, knowingly and with specific intent, facilitated the Inquest presence here in Castora because there is something that they believe that they're going to get out of it, right? Okay, so we kind of delayed our progress here to read that, but... and when I talk about like ArenaNet's attention to detail and how well they did with that throughout this expansion and stuff, it should be noted that what we're experiencing right now, where we had something critical to the story that we wanted to read, and we were attacked before we get the chance to read it, is the opposite of what I've been praising them for. They should have facilitated the player being able to read a critical lore-containing thing without having to try and do it while also fighting a whole bunch of Inquest, right? So, shame on them for all the, you know, as good as they've done throughout this expansion with attention to detail, they dropped it there. It's one mistake, but it is an unfortunate one. Okay, so if you stay in there for a long time, the enemies just keep coming. I was in there for significantly longer on my first playthrough. I just wanted to check all the rooms for things and so on and so forth. And I don't recall there being anything of interest, which is why we went ahead and left in this playthrough. But just in case you're curious, if you stay in there, you will be attacked more. Alright, PTM, we have your spare parts. Oh, you know what? I think we actually go all the way back to the camp at the beginning of the map, so let's find something a little faster. Another note of praise for this expansion. I think they struck the right balance in terms of density of enemies on this map. And maybe on both maps, although maybe one might even argue that the other map, what is it, like Shipwreck Strand or whatever it's called? Yeah, Shipwreck Strand, might actually be a tiny bit light. But I think on this map in particular, they did a really good job of striking a nice balance. There are certainly foes throughout the map, and they're congregated in certain areas, so you can find safe havens easy enough, and you know, if you need to go into your inventory or you want to grab your Astral Acclaim here, or whatever it is you're doing, but then also there's you know, plenty of foes to be found, and I think it feels pretty good in most cases.
Don't worry, Zeke. I'm not gonna hurt him.
According to an index search, my name is Pro-Tour Matthew. That can't be right.
Maybe you should power down while I do this.
I'm pretty sure it's Party Time Mech. Alright, Party Time Mech is now in a powered down state, ready for repair procedures to be started. Let's see if we can get you working again. Oh. I'd forgotten it's yet another minigame.
Now you're an expert in golemancy, Commander. Where do you even find the time?
I picked some up from Timey over the years. I'm surprised you're all the way out here. What about the pub?
Delegation is the mark of great leaders, Commander. You could stand to do more of it yourself.
Let's start now. You make sure nobody bothers the golem while it reboots, and I'll go update the others.
Hoist by my own petard.
Haha. It's good pirate terminology.
Ritlock, Saida, are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Find anything useful?
You could put it that way. I ran into Vlox.
The Inquest leader? This sounds like a pretty good lead. What did you find out?
I think I have more questions than when I started. He's certainly not what I was expecting.
Well, we're up north getting set up. Why don't you come fill us in when you get the chance?
It seems your new friend has finished rebooting, and thus my duties here are discharged.
Maybe you should go join Saida and Ritlock up north. I'll be there shortly.
Ah yes, of course. Someone has to keep those miscreants out of trouble.
Fair. Fair observation, Canuck. Okay. Quick observation on the dialogue here. So we say we talk to Vlox, and Saida says the inquest leader? So throughout the game, like, ever, the identity of the inquest leader has always been like a mystery, right? As far as I know, they had never been named, and we had never met them, or it's always been like this huge, well, not huge, but it's always been a gap until this expansion. And suddenly, when we say the name Vlox, Saida knows that Vlox is the inquest leader. I don't think we should read too much into that. I genuinely think it's actually by design. I think they want to clarify for any players that might not have understood when we went to get the parts for PTM and talked to Vlox that he's the leader. I think they just wanted to make sure it was explicitly said before we advance too much further into the story, Vlox is the inquest leader. I think that's why Saida says that. It's maybe a little clunky. There might have been another way to do that, and personally I think it was clear in the instance anyway. But just the same, I want to give him credit. I don't think that was like some kind of lapse. I think that was by design. PTM, are you working properly now?
Feeling better?
Indeed. My systems have been repaired, and I can now officially introduce myself as Prime... At any rate, I am pleased to assist you with any questions you may have.
Okay. What can I assist you with? Party Time Mech says. What can you tell me about Vlox's past?
He served in various posts within the Inquest prior to assuming the directorship. These include as a lead field researcher and originally as a golemancer. Before that, he was a hydrological engineer in Radasum until... Records show he filed several official warnings about the structural integrity of the Magus Dam before it collapsed. The Arcane Council formally dismissed these warnings and barred him from taking any action himself. That is the end of his time in Radasum. There is a gap between that and his time with the Inquest, but no records of it are available.
Okay, I want to take a moment to talk about how good that is, because I think that's really, really good. So they do several things here. One, they leave some gaps, right? He was a hydrological engineer in Radasum until, and then we don't know. There's a triggering event. There's what I think we can probably expect to be like some sort of formational event within Vlox's life. We're probably going to find out that like his progeny were killed when the dam collapsed or something, right? That's my personal prediction. It may or may not be true. I don't know. Like we'll find out more. But and then portions after he stops being a hydrological engineer. Again, we have this huge gap between when we know some of the things that he did for the Inquest, including being a golemancer, and I'm sure that's going to continue to be relevant through the next couple releases as well, and maybe even the next expansion. Vlox has the potential to be good enough to carry them for more than one expansion. I hope that's what they do. I find it unlikely because when they started the mini X-Packs, they said that they wanted each to be kind of a contained story. So I'm not expecting to see Vlox carry on through the next expansion. I expect whatever's going to happen to him will happen in the final release of this expansion. But if they do this well, then maybe they build him out enough that he actually carries for multiple expansions. We will see. But I like those gaps there because it gives them the opportunity later to do something that they're already doing here. It reinforced something they've already started doing, which is when we meet Vlox, he says, well, I want you to help me save this world, right? So we get this idea that, like, he's not a bad guy. Even if he's our adversary, he might be an ends justifies the means kind of guy, and his desired end state may in fact be very, very valid. And they might even go so far as to ask the question, are we the bad guy? Which, they did a little bit with Joko. Again, a little bit of that comparison there is valid. They reinforce that here with, he warned about structural problems with the dam, and he was not only ignored, he was reprimanded for that, and he was right, and presumably there was a significant cost associated with that tragedy. So the bureaucracy and the greed that was taking place within a certain culture at that point overpowered him and made him a victim of great injustice. And I think most people playing the game are going to find that very relatable in some way, whether they've experienced it or it's just a natural human thing to find relatable. And then again, we come back to those gaps. They have the opportunity to reinforce that even more and make us understand, even if he's the adversary, how he got to where he is. That is something that they have never, ever, ever done well before. They didn't do it. The Titans were not something that was relatable in any way whatsoever. Ceres, they didn't really make an effort to do that, even if they had wanted to. And there probably was room for that with Ceres. When we finally meet Ceres at the end, is it Ceres or at the end of Soto? Whoever it was that's here, we can check. Who the heck is that at the end of Soto? Eparch. I'm sorry, not Ceres, Eparch. When we meet Eparch finally at the end of Soto, he says a couple things that show that they had an open door to do this with Eparch, but that it never really was viable between, honestly, what I consider to be like not the best story writers, and then also probably time constraints and so forth. Here they have the opportunity. They're already starting on it. All they need to do is not mess it up. Okay, enough about that. We're going to continue to ask Party Time Mech questions. What is Vlox searching for specifically?
None of the orders issued to the crew specified any object by name or description. However, each of the assigned search locations is associated with the Seers. The status for each objective is still listed as open, so the desired objects must not be collected yet. That is all of the information I have security clearance to access.
I apologize that I haven't expounded further, Commander. Working with the Inquest necessitates a level of secrecy.
Why work with the Inquest at all?
The Inquest are the only tool that was available. A hammer is a cruel instrument, but we would struggle to build without it. We just need to know when to put it down. I'm using an evil thing to do good, and destroying the evil in the process.
But what are you planning to do? You still haven't told me.
When you peered into the eternal alchemy, you saw all the paths laid out before you. Yes, and possible futures. I am trying to prepare Tyria for what's to come. To do that, we have to remove the impediments to individuals like you. If we continue to let Askaran and the Tyrian Alliance make our decisions, we won't survive.
I think you should come and work with us then. We can improve things together.
I trust you entirely, Commander. But I can't say the same for your friends. Continue on your path for now. I don't intend to stop you. But do think on what I've said. We'll speak again soon.
Okay, I want to go back and revisit some of what he said, because I think that there is some interesting stuff there. All the way back. Alright, working with the Inquest necessitates a level of secrecy. Commander says, well then why work with the Inquest at all? And then Vlox gives like what I think is a very effective metaphor A hammer is a cruel instrument, but we would struggle to build without it. I think that's like perfectly delivered. It's really good dialogue writing there. I'm using an evil thing to do good and destroying the evil in the process. That is going to be important as we move forward in the story, that concept. So just grab that and hang on to it, because we're going to see more of that. There's an implication here that Vlox is quite comfortable with this expedition that he is on and the aspirations that he is undertaking, actively destroying the Inquest. And I think when we get Vlox's backstory, we may get some insight into that also. The commander says, well, what are you planning to do? You still haven't told me. The commander is actually, in my opinion, for what it's worth, very poorly written in this sequence, but Vlox is written really quite well. Vlox says, when you peered into the eternal alchemy, you saw all the paths laid out before you, yes? Our possible futures. I am trying to prepare Tyria for what's to come. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, because what Vlox says next is actually irrelevant, in my opinion. Could be wrong. It could be extremely relevant. In fact, let's go ahead. He goes on to say, to do that, we have to remove the impediments to individuals like you. So there's two possibilities here. One, and this is the possibility that I don't like, but it might be where ArenaNet's going. One, Vlox is saying we have to remove the impediments to people like you because you have seen the options. And you know the direction we should go. And that would be reinforced by the fact that he says, I trust you completely, but not your friends. Maybe that's where they go. I don't estimate ArenaNet's ability to mess up a story. But there's another possibility here which I find much, much more intriguing. He asked the question about peering into the eternal alchemy and what the commander saw. He knows what the commander saw. All paths laid out before you are possible futures. And then he doesn't say, what was that like, or I can only imagine, or, he doesn't expound further. He continues to move on with his justifications. The implication there is that he and the commander have that in common. That Vlox has also peered into the eternal alchemy. And the commander wasn't the first. So if Vlox did it, he wouldn't be the first or the second. Omad had the machine. Omad built the machine. Omad undoubtedly used... In fact, we were told Omad used the machine because that's what drove him mad. Or I'm sorry, he didn't go mad. Scarlet peered into the eternal alchemy. That's what drove her mad. And then she killed Omad. So there's very much precedent for this taking place. There's no reason to believe that Vlox has not also achieved that. Again, every single invention that Taimi has created has been a world's first. So if we're going to swallow that bitter pill, we should be prepared for the possibility that someone like Vlox has also been able to come up with novel technology or duplicate what was novel technology when Omad did it. That's the direction that I'm hoping they're going with that. And then, the commander, I think you should come and work with us then. That's awful. That is awful dialogue writing. But they do so good with Vlox here. It's strange that they can simultaneously, that in dialogue that involves two characters, one can be so well written and one can be so badly written. And I don't know if that's because they had two people working on that together, one doing Vlox and one doing the commander, and the person who was doing Vlox was simply better than the person doing the commander, or if they just were in their right headspace for Vlox and bad headspace for the commander. I don't know, but it's very weird to have dialogue where one is well written and one's badly written. PTM, you seem to have more you want to talk about. Is there anything else I can assist you with, says Party Time Mech. We say, you're an unusual golem for the Inquest to have here. Who built you?
According to my internal registry, curious. It's not corrupted data. It just appears no one ever filled it out. Engineers are often quite busy, however, so some gaps in documentation are expected. But my primary purpose is intact, and that is to provide companionship and constructive feedback. Ah, yes, that is what my name stands for. Platonic Time... I will remember eventually. No, unfortunately it has to start with P, T, and M. That would have been a good guess otherwise.
So something just occurred to me. It did not occur to me on this first playthrough. that bit of dialogue where we ask who made him and he doesn't know, it's void within his records, may actually ultimately be significant. And so I immediately asked myself, well, who could have built him, you know, at some point in the past? They would have had to be affiliated with the Inquest, right? He is, after all, an Inquest robot, and he has the Inquest appearance. Do not rule out the possibility that Blish built Party Time Mech. Just occurred to me. I think it's a real possibility. Will that prove to be true? I don't know. We'll see. He's got one more thing. I see that you and Zeke are getting along well. So remember when I talked about how that dude was treating Zeke poorly and like it should be off-putting for the player? Now that we have these interactions between Zeke and Party Time Mech, where Party Time Mech is like talking back to Zeke when Zeke barks and stuff, as if Zeke said something, that is meant to, and then this dialogue here is also meant to kind of like, hey, things worked out great for Zeke, and now we feel warm and fuzzy because we're all animal lovers, right?
Very well. It is fortunate that I arrived when I did to protect him from those brigands. This is a dangerous place for a young gentleman like him to be without a proper escort. He is also nearly as adept at companionship as I am. One should never let one's ego grow too large, Zeke.
You know what PTM actually reminds me of? Earlier I was talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Reminds me of the soda machine that is like the girl's best friend in Cyberpunk 2077. Very similar, actually. I would not completely rule out if the one inspired the other. But who knows? Okay, let's leave this instance. And then probably going to wrap the video here in just a second. Yeah. Alright, so let's wrap up right here. And then we're gonna blast out another video today. So for me, very little time lost. If you watch these videos 4 years apart, then I guess 4 years will pass in between. That's your decision, not mine. So what did we achieve today? Well, we came inland into Castora, right? We entered the second map, which we've almost fully unlocked now, as you can see here, with the intent of learning more about what happened to Seb and I keep wanting to call her Anka, Kuda, and you know, kind of run the mystery to ground. Instead, what happened is, while trying to get parts for this rando Inquest mech, Party Time mech that we found, we meet Director Vlox, leader of the Inquest, who wants our cooperation. He wants to team up with us because we cannot trust people like Asgarin and the Arcane Council to lead the world, or they will lead it to ruin. Very intriguing stuff, and I talked at length about how much potential I see here and my concerns that that potential might not be realized. Time will tell on that. When we come back, we're going to be going to meet up with Ritlock, Saida, and Kanak at the hunting camp in Untamed Crags, and I know that because it's in the top right of my screen. When we link up with them, I believe in the next video we're going to get another like large collection that we're going to need to do. I already have that map pulled up, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And then hopefully we continue to move forward and maybe get an understanding. What do we not know right now? We don't know what Vlox is actually after, so maybe we'll get some clarity on that in the next video. So we will tackle that when I come back, and I hope to see you there. Thank you, and you have a good afternoon.